I warned you. I told you. This is why you don't vote for Republicans to run anything. You don't want them running the House. You don't want them running the Senate. You certainly don't want them in the White House. And this is the exact reason why. They have no real interest in getting anything done. Not having the government funded means no checks for millions of people across the country. And it could be devastating. But right now, a lot of people voted for really, really rich people to get into the White House and get in position of power, and they don't care one bit. They've got tons of money. Nothing that they do affects them. It affects you. But yeah, you decided to let rich people decide your fate. And now you're about to find out what happens when you do that. Especially Republicans that don't care, because they have billions and billions of dollars. If they cared about people, you would see them helping people every day. They would be going from city to city, establishing homes and networks for the homeless to get rid of homelessness. These few billionaires that are in Washington right now could literally get rid of homelessness if they wanted to. They don't want to. What they want to do is make more money. And you that needs money and depends on money, it's just not that important. You effed around, and now you're going to find out.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year. It's MAGA FAFO season in 2025. We told them, we warned them, but they did not listen to us and they voted for Trump, and now they're finding out that they voted against their own interest. Let's get into it. I'll be back with more commentary after this.
Well, MAGA, I can't help but wonder how you're holding up. First, Orangine and Pervalicious Felonious Schlumper McPhee told you he doesn't intend to deal with grocery prices because that's too hard. Then he told you trans people are no big deal because there are so few of them. That had to sting. Then you had to deal with the real possibility that you may have elected a shadow president in Elon Doughboy Muskrat, who happens to be an immigrant, and who happens to think y'all are lazy, and who hires immigrant workers for jobs he thinks Americans are too R-word to do. Yeah, that's gotta hurt. Personally, I think the R-word is truly awful, and anyone still ignorant and nasty enough to use it, or like opposed to using it, is about as teensy-weensy inside as it gets. But that's your shadow leader. Of course, on top of that, your he never started any wars Orangina seems to be hell-bent on invading several different sovereign nations, which would all greatly benefit Russia, should they be seized and turned over to the guy who just shot an airplane full of innocent people out of the sky. Yeah. How you feeling about your choices, MAGA? I wonder if you've added up the net worth of the proposed cabinet appointments, because sheesh, they sure seem to be swimming in cash, huh? Almost like a swamp. Are y'all feeling good about your gut feeling that billionaires are going to look out for the little guy? In between shopping and plastic surgery, I'm sure they're going to be focused on what the guy making $60K needs to make his day easier. I feel for you, MAGA. Elections have consequences, don't they? I guess it wouldn't surprise me if the truth of the election hasn't reached you yet, but womp womp, it was decidedly not a mandate. Yeah, 1.3 is a squeaker, not a landslide. Honestly, MAGA, where do you go from here? You can't argue you're trying to protect the children because your cult leader wants a statutory rapist to lead the DOJ, and the whole party tried to keep the truth from coming out. That situation drives a truck through your defense of the rule of law. As if electing a rapist felon didn't do that already. On top of that, we know most of you disagree with the plan to release all the J6 criminals. How's it going to feel when that happens, MAGA? How will you explain that to your kids? Yes, Jimmy, the man in the video who beat a policeman with a flagpole, broke into the Capitol and pooped on the Capitol floor, and threatened to hang the vice president, was sentenced to many years in jail. But the president wanted him to commit those crimes. So instead of going to jail, he's getting a record deal and a low-level job in government. But Jimmy, love thy neighbor and do unto others as you would do unto yourself. Okay? Yeah, MAGA, y'all are looking pretty damn hypocritical, and short-sighted, and gullible, and silly. I've got to say, I told you so doesn't cut it. It's really more like I told you, I explained it to you, I made charts and diagrams, I drew pictures, I put it into simple terms, I offered case studies, I begged, pleaded, and I even screamed at you to come to your senses. But nope, liberal tears, y'all love them. Apparently more than your families. So here we are, right where we said we'd be. All thanks to you, MAGA. So all that's left to say is, have the day you deserve. Yeah.
The two biggest lies in the country right now are this. First, all the MAGAs on social media are telling us it's up versus down, not left versus right. And second, the cable news NPCs tell us there's a major political realignment underway. There's one simple fact that proves all of these people wrong. Before we get to that, let's talk about where they're coming from. They tell us Trump's populist message won over working class voters from the Democrats. These voters are unique because they actually care about wage and benefit growth, they trust economic regulations, and they don't trust corporations and CEOs. All the Beltway insiders blame Democrats for losing these voters, starting with globalization going back to the 90s. They say that globalization traded good-paying jobs for lower prices, and that trade-off is at the root of all of our economic problems today. Here's why the whole thing is bullshit. What was the one thing that Trump complained most about in order to get elected? Prices. And what is the unemployment rate today? 4.2%. Blaming Harris's loss on that globalization trade-off I mentioned earlier belies the fact that prices would be 10 times higher without globalization. All this points to one very simple fact. This is a messaging war, not a policy war. Bill Clinton correctly recognized that globalization was inevitable, and so his plan was to lead the effort to globalize the economy, which Republicans loved, but also pair it with universal health care and deep investments in education and job training, which is where they lost the Republicans. The United States didn't choose to abandon the industrial age in favor of the information age. It happened to us. And if you look at the wealth generated in the United States ever since the 90s, it's clear Bill Clinton's plan was the right one. Trillions in new wealth has been generated over the past 30 years in the United States, but Republicans made sure that none of that wealth was invested in the middle class. Those policies were written to benefit people like Donald Trump and continue to be reinforced by Donald Trump and Elon Musk today. The working class voters who voted for Trump over Harris voted that way because of a marketing pitch and not policy outcomes. He won because he whined about prices and said that he could magically bring them down, which he can't and he won't, because he's going to spend the next 4 years hiring and firing idiots, whining about the press, playing golf, and eating Big Macs. But the cable news NPCs are not going to recognize this, which is why the next generation of Democratic leaders needs to stop taking their ideas from insider Beltway strategists and instead find a new candidate who can build a better message around the realities of progressive policies to help voters see through the smoke and mirrors of Republican marketing bullshit.
Some Republicans just found out today what Elon Musk had said before the election about us all facing temporary hardship. They then looked to the stock market to see what was going on there, and the experts are saying, and their only question is, what about my retirement? What about your retirement?
So today we have people saying Trump lied to us. Trump said he's going to bring grocery prices down, but in an interview he said that, once the prices are high, it's very hard to bring them down,
Yeah, people are saying that Trump lied to them because Trump lied to them. Yeah.
It's very hard to change price once it's high. He's just being honest.
Yeah, he's just being honest. Well, how come he didn't choose to just be honest during the campaign?
I mean, Kamala or Biden would gaslight you and just lie and say, well, yeah, we're going to get them down.
Yeah. Kamala and Biden would just gaslight you and tell you that they're going to get the prices down. How would that go? What would they say? Would they say something like this?
We've got to get those costs down, and I'm going to get them down. We're going to bring those costs way down. When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one. We have to get the prices down where bacon is up. Bacon. We don't order bacon anymore. It's too expensive, right? But it's all up too much, so we're going to get it down. We're going to take care of inflation and quickly, and we're going to get those prices coming down very, very substantially and very quickly.
Yeah, would it look something like that?
Okay, you might not like what he says, but he'll say whatever he has to say.
This is actually fascinating because you are so close. You're literally running through the wall, and you're still not appreciating the wall's existence. Trump will say whatever he has to say to get your vote. He will say it. He will say he will bring prices down. He can't bring prices down. He will say he's going to bring energy prices down by threatening tariffs. Well, you know what's going to happen when he threatens the tariffs? Watch this.
Will go to the extent of cutting off their energy, going down to Michigan, going down to New York State and over to Wisconsin. I don't want this to happen, but my number one job is to protect Ontarians and Canadians as a whole, since we're the largest province.
See? You said it. He will say whatever he has to say, consequences be damned. He doesn't mean what he says. He doesn't care about what he says. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care. He just had to win. That's all. That's all. So I know it's a rough time for MAGA supporters right now, for some of them, because they're starting to come around to the idea, mostly subconsciously, that maybe I got got. Maybe I got again, you know? So I understand the need for denial. I understand the need for gaslighting yourself. Yeah. I would enjoy this a lot more. It would be a lot funnier to me if it wasn't so detrimental to everybody. That's the problem. We all didn't FA, but we all have to FO.
Well, I might start to cuss a little bit in this video because it is a FAFO video. Yes, and I know it's been a while since I've done a good FAFO, but this will be particularly to those MAGA who have spent the last 3 to 4 months up in my comment section screaming about how Biden and Harris were going to start WW3. Move to the front, baby, so we can have a little talk. Yes, a little talk about your bronze-painted fat calf that you so love to bend down and worship at. Yes, your false prophet who spits more fucking lies than there are flies on the planet, honey. Yes, him. You know, the one who has declared war on Canada, that just so happens to be a part of the British Commonwealth. Or the one that has declared war on Greenland, that just so happens to be part of Denmark's Commonwealth. Yes. Or Panama. Or the Middle East that he's going to blow the hell out of. Who's going to start World War III again? Because I do believe getting on the bad side of Denmark and the bad side of the entirety of the UK and Canada, well, that would effectively probably get us kicked out of NATO. And I know y'all love the fact of us getting kicked out of NATO because you have no actual real understanding of what NATO is or how it works. But let me explain something to you. If we get removed from NATO, well, there is nothing on this planet that will stop the likes of Russia and China and North Korea from knocking on the door, kicking down the door, and burning the house to the ground, baby. So you thought you had a problem learning that your bathroom was a baño and the cat was a gato and Spanish was just too hard for you? Well, gear up, honey, because you're gonna learn how to speak Russian real soon. Yes, a fool you be. A fool indeed.
So my dad came down this week, and if you don't know, my dad is a gay conservative and a recovering MAGA supporter. But we got on the topic of trans rights, and he don't understand it, right? He was talking about how he went to the VA, and I don't understand why there's tampons in the men's bathroom. So I asked him, what do you think about trans people? What do you think about the trans issue? And he goes, well, I think it's a mental illness. And I was like, interesting. Do you think you're mentally ill? You like men? Are you mentally ill? And I go, well, that's what people say. People say that you're mentally ill. Your best friend said you're mentally ill. So are you? And he was like, no, I'm me. It's normal for me. And I was like, yeah, that's how they feel. And then he goes, well, I just don't understand how a man can do that to himself. And I go, Dad, I don't understand how you can do that to another man, right? I'm a straight guy. I don't understand how men are attracted to other men. But I don't have to understand because you understand, right? I'm going to trust your word that that's how you feel. I was like, well, yeah, that's true. And then he goes, well, I don't want to be associated with those kind of people, the LGBT, the way he says it too, LGBTQ. I don't want to be associated with them. And after like 10 questions, we got down to it, is that he was embarrassed, right? He was afraid. And I was like, yeah, Dad, like, that's why you stayed in the closet until you were 60 years old, because you were afraid. How you felt when you were in the closet is how trans people feel now. And I go, aren't you happier now that you're out of the closet and you could live your authentic life? And he's like, well, yeah. Yeah, Dad, make the connection. Make the connection. That's how other people feel too. Happiness is already fucking hard as hell to find in life. So let people just try to live their authentic life. And if it's not bothering you, if it's not hurting you, who gives a shit if there's tampons in the bathroom, right? Like, who fucking cares? Who really fucking cares? I don't.
So you're all wondering why the Democrats don't believe that Donald Trump won. Well, in 5 out of the 7 swing states, Democrats won down the entire ballot, except Trump won at the top of the ballot. Do you honestly think and believe that all these people in the swing states voted Democrat all the way down the ballot, but when it came to voting for president, they wanted Trump? The Democrats have their own beliefs and their own values, and there is not a chance in hell that they voted for Donald Trump. Not a chance. So yeah, I think we all have a reason to question the results of this election, because there was foul play. I have zero doubt, and it's going to come out.
So today we have people saying Trump lied to us. Trump said he's going to bring grocery prices down, but in an interview he said that, once the prices are high, it's very hard to bring them down. It's very hard to change price once it's high. He's just being honest. I mean, Kamala or Biden would gaslight you and just lie and say, well, yeah, we're going to get them down. Trump is transparent and honest, okay? You might not like what he says, but he'll say whatever he has to say. Just like when he said with Project 2025 that he never read it. He said, I never read it because when I get asked by you people about Project 2025, that I can honestly say that I have no idea. I've never read it. He just wants to be honest when he's speaking. But one thing that he is going to do, and I'm very confident it's going to happen soon, within a year or two, gas prices are going to go down, baby. We're going to have a big change soon. Trump supporters, hit that follow button. We'll see you later on live.
Well, there you have it, guys. Actually, there has to be something wrong upstairs with these FAFO MAGA Trump supporters, because there was nothing that was hidden when Trump was actually campaigning for elections. Everything that he was planning to do was in plain sight, actually, about all the mass deportations. He was actually campaigning with that, with the slogan, Make America Great Again, at the expense of actually deporting a lot of illegal Trump supporters. And many of these MAGA Trump supporters are finding out that even the tariffs that Trump promised to bring in order to make America great again and to stop China from ripping America off and other countries are actually gonna raise the price of groceries. Nothing has changed ever since, and nothing seems to be changing. Even in an interview, Trump himself actually said that once the prices go up, it's very hard to bring them down. So which means he has no idea, or he has no plans to bring the prices of groceries down, which actually is a fooling moment that the MAGA Trump supporters are finding out that they were fooled, they were tricked into voting for Trump for promises that were just a pack of air. And to think that Trump actually promised to bring tariffs and bring prices down, I think, and I mean, guys, this is something that you can go to the internet and actually Google about tariffs. The meaning of tariffs, you can Google about that. But MAGA Trump supporters did not think upstairs to actually go and do some research about tariffs and how they work, because when a country like the USA puts tariffs on goods coming from China, it is the companies from the United States that are gonna be paying these tariffs, because all these goods are gonna be expensive. They are gonna put 100% tariffs on goods coming from China, and the companies importing those goods are American companies, so they're gonna pay the tariffs. And when they pay the tariffs, they do not want to incur the cost. They pass it down to the consumer, so the consumer ends up paying these tariffs by high cost of groceries, high cost of goods and products, and these tariffs actually end up being paid by the United States citizen himself or herself. China pays no tariffs. The worst that China can have is not having importers from the United States for its good. Otherwise, they do not pay any tariffs. Why do MAGA Trump supporters now think that they were deceived to vote for Trump when they could have done the research themselves? They could have gone to the internet and actually Googled about what tariffs mean. So guys, they are coming out here and crying out and simping online because they were deceived into, buying an American dream, make America great again. All these false promises that were passed down through the campaign of actually bringing the jobs to the United States citizen. Now Musk and Trump are planning to actually bring more high-skilled people from China, people from India to come and work in tech and also, in engineering, thus actually taking the jobs and the high-tech jobs and the high engineering jobs from the American citizen by giving them to Indian immigrants and Chinese immigrants or Asian immigrants for pennies, guys. They do not want to pay the United States worker, because he is expensive, and they have an excuse of saying that United States do not produce high-skilled workers. Well, there you have it, MAGAs, for thinking that Trump was actually on your side. He has already fooled you. He has already betrayed you. Now you are crying. Let me know in the comment section, guys. What do you think about today's episode? Like the video, subscribe, and let me know by dropping your opinion in the comment section. Drop them blue hearts for engagement of this video. And guys, as always, thank you for choosing us today. See you on the next episode.